Hello, everyone. In this revision lesson, let's discuss the behavioral explanation of fear-related disorders. And while revising the behavioral explanation of fear-related disorders, we will integrate the nurture side of the nature-nurture debate over here. So this question has been picked from May-June 2024, variant 3.2. This is question number 2A over here from paper 3A2 psychology, the clinical psychology section. So the question over here reads, outline what is meant by nurture, including an example from the behavioral explanation for fear-related disorders. So this question actually expects you to explain, or rather say to outline what nurture is. And because this is a 2-mark question, for the first mark, you'd be expected to outline what nurture is. And for the second mark, you'd be expected to explain to give an example through the behavioral explanation of fear related disorders. So I'd like to take this opportunity of helping you with revision for behavioral explanation of fear related disorders as well. Now, before we could get started with this example, let's have a look at the guidance that has been provided to us by the Cambridge. If you have a look at this reads, the context should be there. The context should be in terms of behavioral explanation of fear-related disorders. Okay, check, understood that. Number 2, social learning theory. Remember, the question was about nurture, right? So the question was about nurture. Just keep that in mind for now. The nurture side of the nature-nurture debate. So social learning theory is credit worthy. I mean, if you write down about the social learning theory, that would be considered credit worthy. As an example, learning a phobia due to copying. Where you go? Learning a phobia due to copying the phobia of a parent. Vicarious reinforcement, role model, or observational learning. Now, if I start off with this social learning approach, or rather say, let's just pick up this part, the vicarious reinforcement part. This part, vicarious reinforcement part. What exactly is vicarious reinforcement? Now, vicarious reinforcement, as explained by social learning theory, which is also referred to as SLT, this occurs when the individuals observe others being rewarded or punished for their behavior. Now, when you're observing someone else either being rewarded or being punished for their behavior, this influences the likelihood of you imitating that behavior. So if there's any particular behavior for which someone else is either being rewarded or being punished, the likelihood of your behavior being influenced by it is always there. Now, when I talk about, or when we talk about the when we talk about you observing a particular behavior, this of course supports the nurture explanation. Now, this of course supports the nurture explanation for fear-related disorders because this highlights how phobias and fears can be learned through observation from the environment, right? So you're learning it from the environment. When you're learning it from the environment, it makes a lot of sense for us to claim that this supports the nurture side of the argument. Now, having said that, if I may give you an example over here, let's just say there is a child, a young child. So if we're talking about this young child observes his or her parent. Oops. Yeah. So we're talking about a young child who might observe a parent showing intense fear of, let's just say, spiders. So there's a young child we're talking about who observes a parent who shows intense amount of fear for spiders, and because of which the child sees that the parent is avoiding spiders, right? So we're talking about a young child and his or her parent. The child sees that the parent shows intense amount of fear towards spiders, because of which the parent avoids spiders, right? Now, of course, if the parent avoids a particular type of behavior, this would be met with relief. So you're scared with spiders, understand the situation here, right? So you're scared of, you as a parent, if you're scared of spiders, your child sees you being scared of spiders, and because of which your child sees you avoiding spiders, right? Because of which your child saw you avoiding spiders, and of course this avoidance would result in the parent experiencing a relief over here. Now, this relief over here could be seen as an expression of safety, as an expression of reassurance, right? The child may interpret this as a reward, right? The child may interpret what as a reward? The expression of safety, the expression of relief, the expectation, the expression of reassurance, right? The child may interpret this as a reward, which would reinforce the belief that spiders are dangerous. Now, understand this entire situation. There's a parent who's scared of spiders, because of which the parent avoids spiders, due to which the parent feels safe, the parent feels less anxious, the parent feels relieved, right? Now, there's a young child there who sees the parent avoiding spiders, because of which the possibility that the child might learn to fear from spiders as well, even without any direct negative experience themselves. So, despite of the fact that the child himself or herself did not have any negative experience from spiders, the idea of vicarious reinforcement over here explains us how a child merely through observation learns to become scared of spiders. This particular explanation, my dear, emphasizes nurture because it shows that fears are acquired from the environment rather than them being innate or natural. This particular explanation suggests us that phobias influenced by social interactions, by our experiences, such as us observing fearful reactions through role models and not just biological predisposition. Now, we were talking about the social learning theory over here. Let's not get carried away. So, we were actually talking about the behavioral explanation of fear related disorders, and trying to support the nurture side of the debate. I wanted to help you. I took the opportunity of helping you understand what vicarious reinforcement is under the broader heading of social learning theory. So, social learning theory is credit worthy as an example. Learning a phobia due to copying the phobia of a parent, vicarious reinforcement, role model, or observational learning. Moving on, we could talk about trauma. Trauma on its own is not credit worthy, needs to outline that trauma is then associated with the object, the situation, etc., that the person becomes phobic to. Again, the classic study by Watson, the study on this young boy, little Albert, could be discussed over here. I'd want to put some more light on this, but let me get over this part first. So, behavioral phobias can be learned. You simply write this, you will not get any mark at all. At the same time, just identifying a study such as Little Albert study or the study by Savit and Silverman on button phobia, or identifying classical conditioning on its own, is not credit worthy at all. Now, talking about this particular part, right? Talking about this particular part, let me explain this to you. If you remember, I mean, you should, this study that was conducted by Watson and Rayner on this little boy whom we have been referring to, Little Albert. So this study that was conducted by Little Albert. In this particular study, there was a neutral stimulus. Well, now, what exactly is a neutral stimulus? Let me make you understand this part first. Neutral stimulus, I think NS is fine over here. I just write it down for the sake of clarity. If we're talking about a neutral stimulus over here, what is a neutral stimulus? The neutral stimulus is a stimulus that initially produces no specific response. A stimulus that initially produces no specific response. And if I connect this with the study that was conducted by Little Albert, the white rat, if you remember, was the neutral stimulus, because the little boy Albert initially showed no fear of it and played with it very comfortably, right? So in this case, the study by Little Albert, I'm sorry, the study by Watson and Rayner, in this case, the white rat can be seen as the neutral stimulus over here. Taking this ahead, number two, we need to understand what an unconditional stimulus is. Unconditional stimulus, unconditional, bear with my writing over here. An unconditional stimulus. Now, an unconditional stimulus is a stimulus that maybe automatically triggers a response without prior learning. A stimulus that automatically triggers a response without prior learning. Now, in the study by Little Albert again, the loud noise that was produced by striking the steel bar was the unconditional stimulus. I hope you're able to reconnect this. I hope you're able to connect this to the study. The loud metallic sound, as we refer to it when I teach. Now, the loud noise produced by striking the metallic bar or the steel bar was the unconditional stimulus. This noise naturally, let's use the word automatically over here instead of naturally. This noise automatically caused little Albert to experience fear, which was an unconditioned response, right? So there was no conditioning done over here. It was all automatic, right? I just highlight this word over here so that you understand what's important. Now, what happened over here was, if I may walk you through the study, there was this young boy with the name Albert who initially was very comfortable with the white rat along with other things too. And later on, the researchers figured out that the boy was actually scared of the sound of a metallic sound, right? So this neutral stimulus was conditioned with the unconditional stimulus, right? The neutral stimulus was conditioned, or there was an association developed between the neutral stimulus and the unconditional stimulus, right? Now, through repeated pairing of the neutral stimulus, that is the white rat, and the unconditional stimulus, that is the loud noise, the white rat eventually became a conditioned stimulus and produced a conditional response. Now, if we talk about, I'm just writing this here just in case if you want to put it down on paper, the conditioned stimulus. And conditioned response. So initially, when it was seen that the boy was not scared of a white rat, through pairing, the researchers understood that they could develop an association between the neutral stimulus, that is a white rat, and the loud noise. And through repeated pairing, after the seventh trial, it was seen that the neutral stimulus, that was the white rat, like I said, with the unconditioned stimulus, that is the loud noise, the white rat eventually became a conditioned stimulus. So after association developed, after developing an association, the white rat now was scaring the young boy. So this turned into a conditioned stimulus, and this produced a conditioned response too. And what was the conditioned response over here? Albert being fearful towards white rat even without the sound of a metal or metallic sound. Let's just put it like this. Now, I hope you've understood this part here. Getting back to the question over here read, outline what is meant by nurture, including an example from the behavioral explanation of fear-related disorders. Like I said, the purpose isn't just to help you answer this question. Come on, this is just a 2-mark question. I wanted to help you revise the behavioral explanation of fear-related disorders. Now, having a look at the example, that could help you score a 2 on 2. Moving on, nurture is where behavior is caused by the environment. Like I said, this is where you get the first mark. The behaviorist explanation of phobia suggests that a phobia is learned through association of the neutral stimulus with the unconditioned stimulus until it produces a conditioned response of fear. This is where you get the second mark. So you need to provide what is required: a neutral stimulus, being an association being developed with the unconditioned stimulus. One, just have a look. Isn't this exactly what I'd said over here? Right? Until it produces a conditioned response of fear. This part. Now, this is how you would not miss a single mark. Quickly moving on to the B part of this question. Explain one weakness of the behavioral explanation of fear related disorders from the nurture side of the nature versus nurture debate. Having a look at this, the weakness must be a weakness of behavioral explanation being due to nurture and not a generic weakness of behavior. Example, the little Albert study being unethical, right? So, yes, you want to write a weakness, make sure that the weakness you are writing is a weakness of the behavioral explanation in line with the nurture side of the debate, right? That is what is important. No credit to just identifying a weakness on its own or just calling it reductionist, maybe taking a quick look. This happens to be a 2 mark question again. Question number 2B from paper 3, variant 3-2, May 2024. Explain one weakness of the behavioral explanation of fear related disorders from the nurture side of the nature versus nurture debate. You could write down that it ignores biological or psychodynamic explanations of fear related disorders, but then you'd have to connect it to nurture. Impossible to determine if fear related disorders are due to nurture or nature, or the extent to which the disorder is due to nurture or nature. The third point over here, reductionist explanation suggests that factor causing the fear-related disorder is the environment, that is pairing of neutral stimulus with the unconditioned stimulus, when some have a fear-related disorder without the experience. Number 4, suggests that everyone exposed to a negative stimulus will develop a phobia that is deterministic. Now, I could spend at least 5 minutes on each, but I want to keep this short. Just in case if you require extra help, make sure you let me know and I'd inshallah facilitate you accordingly. Having a quick look, one weakness of the behavioral explanation of phobias from the nurture side of the debate is that it is difficult to determine if the phobia is due to nurture or nature. There is evidence that phobia may develop due to genetics and evidence from the study on little Albert that phobia can be learned. It is impossible to know whether a phobia someone has is due to their genetic or environment or a mixture of two. So this could possibly be used as an example as well. And I hope this was helpful. Thank you.